in lesson 85.1, it's talking about multiplying by zeros and multiplying by fives. Pretty simple, right? Okay, I think we already know this, but let's go over it quickly anyhow. So anything times zero. So any number, it could be 1,575,000 times zero. The answer is what? Yes, Rylan, what is it? Zero. Anything times zero, because what it's saying is there are 7, and remember this means groups of 0. So if we have 7 groups, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 7 groups there. But there's 0 in those groups. How much do we have? We have 0. There's nothing there. So it's like if it's 7 plates of cookies with 0 cookies on each plate, how many cookies do we get? None. So anything times 0 equals 0. So that's pretty simple. You guys know that. Okay, so let's move on to the fives. So if we have 4 times 5, so that's saying 4, and this is groups of 5. So we have 4 groups, and there's 5 in each. Okay, there's 5 cookies on each plate. So 4 groups, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 groups of 5. Now, we have done fives lots throughout the year. We've counted by fives on our number strip. We've used it when we're saying if we had 4 nickels. Okay, and we've also used it when we have our clock. So we're counting by fives around the clock. Each little minute, there's 5 between each number, okay? So we've done fives a lot. So I think this is really simple for you guys. But we'd count by 5. So we'd say 5, 10, 15, 20. So 4 groups of 5 equals 20. If we had 4 nickels, what would that equal? 5, 10, 15, 20. That would equal 20 cents. If we are counting, and we count to the 4s, okay, if we're to the 4 here, and we're trying to figure out how many minutes, we would count by 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20. Okay, so pretty easy that way. So it means however many groups with 5 in each group. Now, what if I say 6 times 5? So that would be our 6 groups. Okay, and then there's 5 in each. Okay, we can count that out. We can go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So 6 times 5 equals 30. What if I wanted to do 5 times 6? So it's talking about how many are in the group. So that is saying it's 5 groups, and there's 6 in each. Okay, so we'd count by 6s for that. So it'd be 6, 12, 18, 24, and 30. Now, does anybody see something that might be familiar to them? Yes, that is the product is the same when our factors can be switched around. So when our factors, factors are the numbers that you're multiplying by. When those factors are switched around, we still get the same product. What is that called, Kason? Yes, it's the commutative property of multiplication. We have the communicative property of addition, and we have the communicative property of multiplication. We do not have it in subtraction or division. But it doesn't matter. You can just flip the order of the factors or the add-ins if you're in addition, and you still would get the same answer. So that's pretty easy. Once you learn, like say today we're learning the fives, well then you already know what this is when you get to learning the sixes in multiplication. So just keep working on those, keep making your flashcards, keep practicing, keep studying. You'll get them in your head and you'll be set. All right, so lesson 85.2 in math is your test. And I think you guys can all do really well on the test. Just make sure that you label. Don't forget the date. You can do it however you want. Put in the dollar signs. Label if it says how many children. And temperature-wise, label that also. Also make sure that when you're writing the check, where that decimal point is where you put the word, yes, Jillian, you put the word and there. Very good. And then you finish out that line of writing the words out by putting a squiggly line at the end till it gets to the dollar, the word dollars. Also remember to put your hyphens in. If it says $65, you need to write the word 60-5. Okay? All right, otherwise I think you guys can do really well on the test. So, good job. Also, in this lesson, they want to talk about what's called customary units. Does anybody know what customary units are? We haven't really talked about that. Well, actually we have, only we called it the standard units, okay? So it's what we use to measure. Now in the United States, we use the standard units or the customary units. And we would measure with, a ruler. So you have your ruler, and at the top would be your inches, and then if you flip it over, most rulers would have the centimeters, which is called the metric system, right? So today we just wanted to review a little bit and go over a couple things, just to keep them in our mind. So there are 3 customary units that we measure length when we want to know how long or how wide something is. We use inches, so 1 inch is just this little part right here. Okay, and then what's this whole, if we say this whole ruler, if we're talking about a ruler, right, James, it is a foot, okay? So 12 inches equals 1 foot. Then, if we want to measure something that's longer, we would take okay, so here we have the inch, just goes to here. We have 1 foot, and this one is called what, Tristan? Yes, it's called a yard. So it goes from here to here. That's 1 yard. It's called a yard of measurement. So let's look here. We can measure in inches, in feet, or in yards. All right? So if we have 12 inches, so we put 12 of these little sections together, all the way on the ruler, that is called 1 foot. Now why did I say foot here and feet up here? Right, it's just plural. So if it's talking about 1 foot, it's just like on your body. We don't say 2 feet, we don't say 2 foots, we say 2 feet. So that's just changing it to plural, okay? And then, whoa, that wasn't supposed to happen. All right, if we had 3 of these together, 3 rulers together, and we laid them on top of the yardstick. Okay, so here's 1, here's 2, and here's 3. Okay, so if we have 3 feet, that would equal 1 yard. So 3 feet equals 1 yard, and then if we're trying to figure out how many inches, okay, there's 12 on this one, so it's like we say 12 plus 12 plus 12, or 3 groups of 12, and that would equal 36. So 36 inches equals 1 yard. Now, boys and girls, we're not going to do a whole lot with this, with this today, but it's just introducing it to us. So keep that in mind when we're talking customary units, or we called it standard units. It's inches, feet, yards, and 12 inches equals 1 foot or 1 ruler. And does anybody know how they called it a foot? Yeah, if you take your ruler, and now it won't work necessarily for your feet, but if you take your ruler and measure mom and dad's feet, it's about 12 inches long, isn't it? Okay, so that's how they got that term. It's 1 foot. And then 3 feet means it goes on the yardstick 3 times. Okay, so 3 feet equals 1 yard, and then 36 inches, because there's 12 inches on one of these, then it's like saying 12 and 12 and 12, or 3 groups of 12. 3 times 12 is 36, and that equals 1 yard. Okay, now we're going to move on to the metric units. Now remember, metric is what most other countries use. So if we are talking on our rulers, okay, so we're on the other side of it now, and it's just the smaller parts. So a centimeter is the smaller part, that would, what we can measure by. So in the metric system, the main things that we deal with when we're measuring length is the centimeters, okay? And then it's also meters. Now, this is a meter stick, okay? If you notice, it's a little bit longer than a yardstick, okay? So a meter stick is a little bit longer, all right? When we are talking centimeters and meters, 100 centimeters equals 1 meter. Okay, so if we took our meter stick and we counted all the centimeters on there, it goes from, well, 0, but from 1 all the way to 100. So 100 centimeters equals 1 meter. That's our unit of measurement there. So, boys and girls, just kind of keep these things in your mind. We'll be dealing more with these off and on, but know that the meter stick is a little bit longer than a yardstick. So if you are estimating something and you're thinking, well, is that a meter or is that a yard? Oh, I think it's a little bit longer. It would be a meter then. All right. Good luck with your test. Do a good job, and we'll see you later.